All right, joining us to shed more light on Julian Assange's ordeal and how it looks like it's all about to come to an end, I'm joined by AIT's diplomatic editor, Shola Jayesimi, to give us some more insight on what this is all about. Shola, no need for me to thank you for coming. You're at home already. All right, now, for those of us who are probably hearing about Julian Assange and WikiLeaks for the first time, or have forgotten what transpired all those years back, give us a little bit of background information. Why Assange and WikiLeaks is such a big deal?
Well, WikiLeaks is that website which unearthed what the American authorities called trove of documents, videos, which showed that the United States government runs what some have called secret things which should not come into the open. And in WikiLeaks' view, through Julian Assange and his team, they felt, look, America holds itself as the policeman of the world, but some of the things it has done in the course of its, overseas operations contradict what the American democracy stands for. And those troves of documents were distributed to journalists all across the world from 2002 up until 2010, when Julian Assange suddenly became a haunted man. Some have called what has occurred to this man since 2010 that state harassment. But the American government, starting from when Obama was in office, because recall, when this occurred, Obama was the president of the U.S., and he said, no, that you're simply exposing our troops, our servicemen, our intelligence operatives to danger, to harm, by releasing not just those incidents, but names of persons. If you've watched the movie Enemy of the State, which came out in the late 1990s, it's patterned after what occurred 10 years later. And since 2010, starting from what Sweden said, look, Julian Assange, when you lived in Sweden, you raped a lady in Sweden, we're going to hold you to that. But those who are in Julian Assange's camp said, look, this is instigated by the U.S. That's why they want to grab him. And those things came up. Recall that he had been living in the Colombian embassy, Ecuadorian rather,
yes,
for lots of years there in the UK, from the balcony of diplomatic mission where he normally comes to make those statements. But eventually a new president came in Ecuador who seemingly aligned with the U.S., and suddenly they said, we need to expel from our embassy.
Yeah.
And then British authorities picked him up at that point, and he went to jail. So what we're seeing now is a culmination of what happened last week. It had been flying out there that the Biden administration may reach a deal, to ensure, look, Assange, you've suffered enough, just go. You plead guilty. And as we speak now, a plane, a chartered flight.
He's on his way.
Yes, he's on his way to the Mariana Islands. That's a territory somewhere in the Pacific, owned by the U.S., where he will go to court, he will plead guilty, and once it's done, he'll go straight home to Australia.
And I guess that's because of the proximity to Australia, where he has his friends too.
He's an Australian by citizen, by birth.
Yes.
So when he pleads guilty shortly, Australian authorities say, look, because the Prime Minister of Australia had been speaking in Parliament and said, look, this is something that has been on, he's our citizen, and we'll ensure all the legal processes go through. So Assange will have his day in court, and once he's done in court, he will fly home.
Is that a sort of a plea bargain of some sort?
Yeah, it's a plea bargain.
Yeah.
He will plead guilty to one count of espionage. And after that, everything is seemingly, covered up. But the real lessons are these. The issue around freedom of speech and freedom to information is the whole thing around this. Julian Assange set up that website to say, he called it, look, exposing what needs to be exposed. Journalists, if you've done your part, we will dig deeper, we'll supply you with facts. So we can see that the American authorities have said, no, you're endangering our citizens, our operatives, but the right to free speech is the debate.
Was there anything wrong about the way WikiLeaks was going about getting its information?
Well, WikiLeaks did a lot of what some of us who are in the media may have done way back, because investigative journalism in our climes now is seemingly going low. So WikiLeaks dug up, WikiLeaks gave money, WikiLeaks did all sorts to bring this information to the core so that people can have them as they want them. Ethically speaking, as a journalist, I would say he may have done some things that were not ethically upright. But in the eyes of society, some say, look, if WikiLeaks didn't bring these things to the fore of, waterboarding incidents, prisoners who suffered in Guantanamo, who were ill-treated, who some courts have even said, look, American government, you treated such people, some of them flown by rendition from different parts of, Europe down to the U.S., down to Guantanamo. We may never have known about all of this.
So what you're saying is that looking at it from an objective view, the world's probably better off as a result of Julian Assange and WikiLeaks.
That's my view.
All right, we'll leave it at your view. We've been speaking with our diplomatic editor, Shola Jaisimi, on the latest happening with WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, who is on his way to Mariana Island, where he's to plead guilty and go free. Sounds funny, but it's true. Shola, many thanks for coming on The World News.